up to Yid Ches in Amud HaTfilah. Omer Rabbi Yisrael Baal Shem Tov, this is from the Sefer Oro Emes. Omer Rabbi Yisrael Baal Shem Tov Olam HaSholem. Tzoyar Tasel HaTeva, Shehei Manir HaTeva. We've said this already a couple of times, that the word Tzoyar means shining. And therefore, he's telling us that we should make the word shine. But now he's going to refer to the next few words differently than we've spoken before. Vel'ama techalena milmala, perish shenoisen mozen la'ashchina mimadreges shelamala. And so he's learning Amma miloshen Ima, the mother. Take your words and make sure that they result in feeding the mother. And the mother here being the aggregate of all the forces that manifested. And so before life became what it is now, it was something, it was somewhere, and it's still there. This is something that's true in all the spiritual realities that are different than how we are used to in the physical. And that is that when something spiritual takes place, it stays there forever like that. Because the spiritual is all-inclusive. The spiritual includes everything that can exist. Everything that can exist is categorized in the spiritual as a compartment for existence. And that includes space and that includes time. So we're existing. Our body exists. Where does it exist? In certain compartments. If you won't go to those compartments of existence, you won't find our body. Someone can live on the same planet as us their entire existence and never realize that we have a body because they never came in contact with our body. They didn't come into this compartment where we were. Call the compartment a country. A space. Everybody is in some space of existence. So existence has created everything in all spaces. But then there's the specific compartment, the specific space where it exists. Time is just a compartment. Someone could have covered the entire globe, seen satellite images of everywhere, and not come across my body. Why? Because it's the wrong time. In that time, I wasn't here. My body did not exist in that time. So again, time is a compartment of existence. And so in the spiritual realm, you can't say, oh, before it existed, now it doesn't exist. What do you mean, before and now? This is everything, all the information. There's no before and now. Before is one place where it could exist, or now is one place where it could exist. Those are both just places of existence. So if it existed, it exists. This is very important because using this rule, we are creating our personalities. If what happened yesterday didn't exist, then you wouldn't be different than the day before. Yesterday is in there. That's why you're different. And so you're holding everything. You're holding all the files, all the compartments. In your body, you have access to all the space. Things outside of your body, as far as your personal awareness right now, are irrelevant. You can't access those spaces. But the mother, she accesses all spaces, just like you access your body. Just like you can be in every cell of your body at the same time, the mother is in all humans, in all animals, in all trees, in all that exists at the same time. And so when we are helping the situation, we're helping her. Are we helping ourselves? Maybe. What do I mean by maybe? We don't know the calculations of what's taking place. So we're not really helping ourselves in the way that we think we're helping ourselves. We are helping ourselves as long as we have the right intention and we manifest, we're helping ourselves. In fact, if we simply exist, we're helping ourselves, even if we're not doing anything. Why are we helping ourselves? Because we're fulfilling the will of the one who wants us to exist. We do this all the time. These are one of the mitzvahs that we get to do at all times, is that we fulfill his will. The best way to do this mitzvah, the mitzvah min hamifcher, of fulfilling his will of existence, is to do it with love. To exist with love, because His will wants you to exist. Do it with love, don't just do it. And so the mother exists in all existence, and everything that's good for existence is good for the mother. The mother is called the Shekhinah. The closest place we have access to the Shekhinah is the Dibur. The Dibur is the most intelligent part of the human. The Shekhinah is the ultimate intelligence that creates the human. When we're becoming more intelligent, there is more Hashras HaShekhinah in us. When there's absolute intelligence that we can interact with reality exactly the way that it is, that's called Gilui Shekhinah. If Moira Godel is a Gilui Shekhinah, the intelligence was alive, you could speak to it and it will answer you. It's alive now also. I speak to you, you answer me. Who answered me? Was it not the intelligence? It was the intelligence, but how plugged in is that intelligence to the mother? The mother, the Chachma that's in the mother, is the Chachma that's available in the human beings. It's called Chachma Shloimer. Then there's the Chachma that's way above. It's the Chachma that created her. That Chachma is called Chachma Ilah. Chachma Ilah, Chachma Tator. The Chachma from above, the Chachma from below. The Chachma Tator dresses up in human beings. Shlomo HaMelech, he had a full serving of that Chachma. That's what gave him his power. And so, how do we help the situation in order to help the Shekhinah? One of the best ways to help is precise dibur, accurate dibur, to accurately express what's really taking place. She needs that from us. Because she has the ultimate intelligence, but we are experiencing it from the individual level. We need to give her the right messages, the right signals, so that she knows what's really happening. When we give her confusing signals, she doesn't know how to act with the world. She's dependent on us. We're focusing her intelligence. Where's the problem? How are we going to solve it? We all agree there's a problem. She feels the problem more than we feel the problem, because she feels the problem in everyone at the same time. Just like if, God forbid, someone has pain in different limbs and organs, all the pain is felt because the signals are coming. She gets all the signals from all the cells. We are the cells. And so she feels all the pain at all times. This is why the righteous would sit at night and cry for her pain. Because her pain is greater than any human pain. And it's cumulative. She doesn't forget what happened yesterday. Yesterday's pain is still there because it's the spiritual realm. All her different parts, all the spaces where existence can happen, are covered with difficulty, with suffering. And this weakens the divine presence within humanity, within life. This is what makes the wicked have power. Because the righteous don't have the intelligence to answer back to them, to put them in their place. And so when the words cannot identify the problem appropriately, then evil has power. Evil works in that vague space that cannot be defined in words. If we can define the corruption appropriately, then it's over. But as long as we can't define it, it just goes on and everybody's playing along as if nothing is happening. Everybody knows something is happening. But it cannot be defined enough so that there's no way out, and therefore it continues. Defining it, clarifying, speaking, expressing. This is what the Shekhinah needs from us. And so here he's saying, Vel'ama techalena milmalo, that you should use your words to make sure that mother is receiving. What is mother going to receive? She's going to receive food. You're going to feed her. From where are you going to feed her? Not with what you're doing, but with what you're bringing from above, from the infinite light that she receives from. by your behavior, she's going to get more from above. If we behave appropriately, she receives power. If we misbehave, she loses power. If she loses power, where are we going to get from? We only get from her. So how do we help her? We define. What's the point? What's the purpose? Where are we headed? We're headed for unification, yichud, to be miyached. What does it mean to be miyached? It means that really there's only one being that exists, and that one being has lost his mind. There's fragments. There's fragments of knowledge about who he is and what he is in different parts of him, but he cannot put it all together. He doesn't understand himself. He needs us to help him. But we start in the same condition as he is. We came into the collective, which means we're going to be losing our minds too. And then we're going to have to help him find his mind, put together the pieces, understand what's really going on. There's no other way. There's no other way to help him. If you're not going to lose your mind, you won't understand him. And so the mother needs us in order to guide her. Where do I put my energy? How do I fix the problem? We need to define appropriately. And then we need to unite all the parts. We need to realize that this is one being. It can only be one being. And one being, by its very nature, everywhere we will observe, we will see, one being always gets along with itself. That's the nature. If the yichud will happen, if the being will remember that it is one, it will no longer fight with itself. That's the nature. And so everywhere there's conflict, it's because the being is being ripped into pieces. It's being defined, compartmentalized. This compartment of existence is saying that it's a different thing than this compartment of existence, and that cannot be. That's a fallacy of thought. It can exist in word, it cannot exist in reality. We're trying to unite all the compartments of existence to give power to the source, because the source is one. The source needs to give out its energy in a united fashion, just like in a human being. The more we are giving out our energy in one united message, the more we are living a coherent life. The more there are different parts of us that are fighting over different things. We're slowly losing our grip on reality. We can no longer tell. And so the compartments have to somehow learn how to get along. On the spiritual realm, we're talking about ruchos. There are individual ruchos that are working within the body, and then there are the collective ruchos that are working for the Shechina. These are known as the Malachim. These are known as the Machnos Shechina. So we know the four main Malachim that are the four Machnos Shechina: Michal, Gavriel, Oiriel, and Raphael, representing the four directions. To the right is Michal. We say Milfona Oiriel, Mechor Raphael, Mimini Michal, Mismaili Gavriel. So you have the four directions. These are called the Machnos Shechina. What does it mean, Machnos Shechina? These are the directions of existence that the intelligence moves in. These are the four directions. It's either Letzada Yemin, like we know, the Chesed is to the right, Gevur is to the left, like we see in the name, Gavriel. Michal is for the right because the inspiration for the kindness is the realization, Mikael, who is like the force that creates humanity, that creates life, that creates existence. Who? Who can compare? Who can even start to give anything that's going to measure up against the one we're receiving from? And so the Michal, the realization of Mikael, that's the Midas HaChesed. That's what brings out the Chesed. Gavriel is the recognition that your power, your force, the ability that you have to manifest yourself in any specific direction comes from that same force. And so Michael, the same El, Gavriel, meaning we're meyached. By calling them by this name, we're meyached the koiches. We're not saying that Michal is its separate koyach and Gavriel is its separate koyach. We are saying that the El that is one can be manifested in all these different directions. Oriel is Mizrach. Oriel means the light is the force, the same force. Oiri is also the letters of Avir. And so this represents the tzad of Ruach. So on the basic level, Michal is water, Gavriel is fire, Oriel, air, Rephol, earth. And Rephol is the healing power. And he's behind us because he's cleaning up after us. Whatever damage incurred while whatever is taking place, Rephol is following and cleaning up, healing us constantly. This is why, for example, if we get a wound, so then soon after, the angels are going to appear and going to start repairing the wound until a few days later, there's nothing. Rephol cleaned up right after us, and we're back. And this is the same with most diseases that are constantly hitting the body from all directions. And these are all coming from the friction, the conflict that we have created within the Shekhinah. There's no other way that this could happen other than when we are creating bad information, sending the wrong signals, and then the attack comes in and the wrong people get hurt. But all this friction creates within the Shekhinah different arguments that argue biologically, arguments that exist within the air, within the food, within the bodies. This is why there's all types of germs. In the right world, in a healthy world, there will be no germs. We will be healthy for each other. None of us will be allergic to anybody else. But in the world that we are in now, we are all allergic to everyone. Even your best friend is also sometimes causing you to lose good chemicals because of certain friction, interactions, different things that happened in childhood that are being triggered, and all kinds of associations that are coming up, even with the people we love most. And so all this friction, all this is based in spiritual negativity. The biology is what turns concept into physical being. And so the concept of I'm upset will create physical manifestations in the body of I'm upset. The same thing, the concept of hate, the concept of division between humanity, the concept of disrespecting the human spirit, all this has manifestations, physical, biological manifestations that we are living with that are not pleasant. Just like the nature of the spiritual side of it is not pleasant. The same way the physical one will be. Everything is exact and according to the way that we intrinsically and intuitively know. Otherwise it wouldn't be fair. And so we want to give Maza into the Shekhinah. It means that we're going to help her unite. That's the only thing you can give her. She has all the power. You have, what do you have? You have what she gave you. You don't have anything else. But you can take what she gave you and be divisive with it, divide yourself within and divide others without, or you can take what she gave you and help everything unite, and then you're giving power. If you separate Tzur Yelot Chateshi, the force that gave birth to you is exhausted, you're making it lose power, or Tenua Izlalim, give power to the divine force by uniting everything to the unity where it belongs. Because that's where it came from and that's where it has to return to. There's nowhere else to go. There's nothing else that can exist. It never existed and never will exist. And so to give Mazin to the Shekhinah means to help her unite. What does it mean? How do we know when there's unification? And so when we will observe in the physical, we will see that whenever there is unification, the side effect of unification is pleasure. And so if we're going to, let's say, if we're going to eat, food is a form of unification. We're going to take an external source of energy and we're going to digest it internally until it becomes part of our bodies. And so that's a form of unification. This is how we're male nitzotzes. It means we're taking sparks that have been sort of aimlessly floating, and now we're giving them purpose. We're directing them. We're giving them a spiritual power that they couldn't even dream of before they come into our body. We're going to activate those molecules in a way that they're going to become something that's meaningful in the world. We don't yet know what. It depends what we're going to do with it, how we're going to manifest that, what we're going to say, think, feel. But now the food is becoming superpower. And so when the food is becoming superpower, there's a yichud. And therefore, before there's going to be a yichud, when the food is uniting with the body, there's going to be pleasure. That's a side effect of yichud. If we're having a conversation with another human being, and the conversation is going in a way where there's becoming yichud, there's going to be pleasure. If it's going to be in a way that's becoming conflict, there's going to be pain. This is how the universe speaks. This is the language of nature. And so he's saying, Tzoyer ta'aseh lateva, when you're going to say those words, when you're going to define reality, you should light up those words. You should shine on those words, because you want to be able to enjoy what you're doing and help give power to the one who is making you, to the one who is letting you be, to the one who has thought that you are a good idea. And so therefore he says, Vel amo techaleno milamalo. Make sure that the ima, the mother, is eating from above, is receiving food from above. How does she receive food from above? Above the Malchus are the 9 other spheres. The 9 other spheres are the intelligence and the attributes. When we unite the forces within nature, when we unite within ourselves, the attributes that we express become more authentic, more real, more powerful. So our love will be more love than before. If our love is more love, it means the Shekhinah is now manifesting divine attributes. This wakes up her connection from where she receives love, because now she's manifesting love. In the attribute that we are manifesting, she receives from above. If we are learning wisdom, we're becoming wiser. That means that we are connecting with wisdom. We're manifesting wisdom from the Shekhinah. That means the Shekhinah is going to receive more wisdom, more inspiration from above, from the Ein Sof, from her husband, called HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And so everything we're activating in here, she's receiving, but she's receiving from above. Let her receive her food from above by doing what we need to do below. And by doing that, we're uniting the parts. We're uniting the mind. We're uniting the pieces that are supposed to decide what is happening here, and are supposed to know, are supposed to receive the signals from us of what needs to take place. Those signals have been very confusing, very fragmented. And so humanity as a big being has lost their ability to comprehend their own situation. And the fragmentation continues if we continue to shape the people in a specific way, if we continue to force different types of structures into the minds. This is not just information that we are feeding our children. We're changing them biologically. Everything that's happening in the mind is happening in the biology. They're developing differently. They're developing their interests, their desires, their interpretations. Everything is being developed. It's not just information that's happening. It's a lot more than simply information. And so when we eat information, when we receive information, it's supposed to feed the Shekhinah. It's supposed to create unification. It's supposed to help us unite as one. This is what gives humanity power. This is what gives us all power. People sometimes take on different sides, whether it's in politics or in sports or anywhere else, because they want to receive the chemicals if their side wins. And so the more invested they are in the outcome, the more their chemicals are going to depend on what's going to take place. This is the power of identity. But if what we are feeding to the collective is divisiveness, then it doesn't matter the short-term chemicals that we're going to gain from the conflict. At the end, we're going to lose chemicals. At the end, we're going to feel much worse than we felt at the beginning. There's no way to win. And so it's no longer about who specifically. It's more about, are we going to speak in those terms about humanity? Is this the way we're going to approach the subject? If this is the way we're going to approach the subject, we've already all lost. There's no difference anymore. Because she's losing. When she loses, we lose. The individual can never gain more than she. If the collective lost, every individual lost. The individual can never have enough in order to close that gap and say, well, I'm going to be doing so well that to me it won't matter. You can take away all the oxygen from the planet. I'm going to be so happy at that point that it won't matter to me if there's oxygen or not. We cannot say that. And so when she is not doing well, none of us are doing well. That's just the equation. And she can only do well if we are somehow working together in one direction. Otherwise, we are splitting her into pieces. This is madness. And then everybody loses. It no longer matters who's in charge, because we've all lost. And so Tzoyar Taseh Lateva, that you should make it shine and feed the Shechina from the higher realms. The next piece comes from the Ora Meir. Shemati b'shem Baal Shem Tov shepirish. Tzoyar Taseh Lateva lasis tzoyar min hateva shel Torah tefillah. Liris elistakel ima merasha elematzayfa. Oh, so he goes the other way. He says, till now we were saying, Tzoyar Taseh Lateva means that you should be shining to the word. Now the Aramaic says, Tzoyar Taseh Lateva, let the word shine for you. The word should light you up. That the nefesh that's saying the word should use the word like a tzoyar. What was the tzoyar? So Chazal say one of the ways of interpreting tzoyar, that it was a precious stone that was hanging in the teva, in the ark, and with that precious stone a person could see from one end of the world to the other. There's different places where such a precious stone is mentioned. The precious stone that with it you can see from one end of the world to the other. There's also lahavdil in the secular culture. There was a philosopher's stone, and there's a lot of debate about what that was. And the philosopher's stone was supposed to be something that if you achieve it, then you understand the nature of reality, or something like that. And so, Tzoyar Taseh Lateva, they say, he says now, the word of Torah, the word of Tefillah that you say, that should light you up. That should be your diamond. That with that word alone, all of you should come to life. And this relates to an expression that we find in the Zohar a lot. The Kabbalah would speak like that sometimes, because they understood so deeply the neshama, the nature of the neshama and the purpose of why it comes to the world. So they would be able to, through one realization, justify their entire incarnation into the body. And so sometimes after they heard a statement of wisdom, they would say, it was worth being born just to hear this Dvar Torah. It was worth the whole process of coming into the body, going through life, leaving the body, just so that we can buy this, make this purchase. It's all worth it. Now everything else is a bonus. And so, the more we understand the true nature of what is happening here, the more we appreciate that every single detail is infinitely meaningful. The more we can't understand what's really happening here, the more believing that could be dangerous for us. It could be too much for our nerves to handle. And so the more people were inspired with the truth, the more they could focus on every single detail, every single thought, every single expression, every movement of the lips, even the blinking of the eye. There were tzaddikim that were known that they wouldn't blink an eye without making a yichud. They had a special yichud even for blinking an eye. And of course for everything else. That why would I spend energy? It's her energy. Why would I waste it? If I'm doing it to help her. I have to do some type of a yichud with it. I have to pay her for the energy that I'm using from her. Otherwise, I'm wasting her energy, I'm confusing her, I'm adding more noise to an already overcrowded, over-noisy atmosphere. It's a waste. I'm not doing anyone a favor. And so, if they wanted to blink the eye, that was their level. For a regular person, we say that he can lose his mind just attempting. And so, when we realize what it means that we can say, and because we said, the one who created all is now going to make a turn. Whatever it might be. As small as it might be, as big as it might be. And it's pretty big. Because this world, this process that we're doing here, is the beginning of a very long and complex process. And this process results in things that we cannot even imagine or dream of. Or if we were to experience, the sweetness of it would make us melt until we couldn't remember that we ever had a problem in the world. But we're very far from there. We're here. Here everything is covered. Here we can't understand exactly what's taking place. And so to us, existence is a burden. We don't realize that it's only a burden because this and that and the other. Other than that, it would feel very different. We don't have the technology to diagnose yet where is the problem. But there is a problem. There are blockages. If there weren't these blockages, it would feel very different. This wasn't the intention. And so, those who could realize more the intention, they could carry the load of it. They wanted to, and their nerves were developed enough to. And so every movement, every expression, it has infinite meaning. Layers upon layers upon layers of meaning. And not only meaning, but also cause. It becomes the cause of layers upon layers upon layers of things. Like Avraham Avinu lives his life. And every day in the life of Avraham Avinu, what does it mean now, after thousands of years? How he spent that day. What does it mean now? It means everything. The whole Torah that's been running the world. How many parshas? How much is Avraham Avinu there? He went here and he did this and he said that. And even the rest that's not written, it's part of the fabric of reality. It doesn't disappear. It's still there holding it. It's still zchorsus chusavos. If we want to remember something for ourselves so that we can somehow gain more access, we say, remember Avraham Avinu. He's still standing there. That's how we know how to be us. The chusavos is still in us. Otherwise, we wouldn't know how to be ourselves. How would I be? Would I be like any of the others? Would I be able to be like someone who's not in my lineage? Could I ever figure that out? I can only be based on what I've received from my lineage. And so take out Avraham Avinu and I don't have how to be. I don't know. There's a piece missing. That piece is still there. That piece is still protecting us. That piece is in our nature, helping us. Avraham Avinu's Midas HaChesed means that we're going to receive from above more Chesed. Because if we're measuring Chesed, we're going to receive Chesed. That's the nature of reality. That's how it works. And so to understand the importance of things, to be able to live your life like Avraham Avinu, because it's no different. You have your path, but the ramifications are there. The ramifications are on everything. And so, just like Avraham Avinu had ramifications on everything, everybody else who lived had ramifications on everything. We are the way that we are because of everyone, not just Avraham Avinu. Everyone in his generation. If there was one less man, we would be different today. Avraham Avinu would have been different, and we would be different. If we were to take out one day from our lives, we would be different. We might not be able to tell, but blow yourself up into a galaxy, and some stars will be in different locations because of it. It's meaningful, it's infinitely meaningful. And so if you said a word, nobody can take that away from you anymore. Forever you are saying that word. Forever you are standing there with all that authenticity, with all your spiritual power, with your intention, with your desire, and you're saying that word. You're always saying that word. Light yourself up with that word. Tzoyar tase la teva, make the teva a precious stone inside of you. Your body is the ark. Light it up with a precious stone that is the word that you said, that only you said. Nobody has ever said it like you said it at that time, that way. Not even you can ever copy that. Not even you can outdo it. It's exactly that. And it's that, and it's you. And it's forever. And so Tzoyar tase la teva, he says, Tzoyar min ha-teva, lases Tzoyar min ha-teva shel Torah tefillah, that every word of Torah tefillah that you are zoiche to, let it shine in your heart. Let your heart remember the importance, the meaning, the depth of the consequence that's going to reverberate to eternity. To see with it from the beginning of the world to the end, to see the importance, to realize that this is what we keep. This is what we get to keep. We don't get to keep anything else. We get to keep who we are because that's who we are. That's who we were going to be always. We could think we're different. We could think we're no one. We could think we're meaningless. But that's not the truth. As soon as we leave here, we'll know what we are. So we have that. That no one can take away from us. But what can we earn? What can we gain? What can we be more? Only this. Only the proper intentions and manifesting those intentions to help the Shekhinah unite, to help this force come together as one. Once this force is united, we won't have any problems. We won't have to make any effort. Nobody will request of us anything. We will be offered. But first we have to get there. We're not there. First we have to realize how to unite ourselves, how to be a force that unites, and not a force that separates, a force that creates conflict. And then, if we do that, everyone will, because it's the best way to live. Nobody's going to pass it up. It's free, it's easy, and it feels good, and it heals you from everything that ever went wrong. So it's a really good proposition. If we do it authentically, everybody will copy.